Now, moments after the debate, we talked with Jeff Hayden, a former Minnesota senator and DFL deputy caucus leader, and Brian McClung, who worked as Republican Governor Pawlenty's deputy chief of staff, about if this debate would have an impact on the election.
For people who wanted to make sure that Vice President Harris could do the job, I think she's competent to do the job. If they like her policies, I guess we'll see.
This is a close election. It got closer, and the recent polling has showed it moved back towards Donald Trump. And so I think we're going to see it locked in that close state, probably right up to Election Day.
There's still a lot more to unpack from the debate last night coming up in the next half hour. We're going to fact check claims made by both candidates last night. All right, 6:04 on this Wednesday. We turn now to a live picture out of New York City. You can see the Freedom Tower standing in the middle of the lower Manhattan skyline, just 130 feet from where the original Twin Towers once stood. This morning marks 23 years since the towers fell in the September 11th terror attacks. Nearly 3,000 people died that day when hijacked planes flew into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and when Flight 93 crashed near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. This morning, flags will fly at half-staff across Minnesota. And in Wayzata, there's a special gathering happening in 90 minutes for one of the World Trade Center victims at the city's 9/11 memorial. But that site has actually recently been vandalized, and police are asking for your help this morning. Audrey Russo's at Panaway Plaza Park with more details. Good morning, Audrey.
Good morning, Alicia. Yeah, I'm right across the street from that vandalized memorial. I'm not going to get any closer to it, just out of respect and gravity for the day. But within the last 15 minutes, I reached out to the Wayzata Police Department to ask them if they've gotten any new leads based off of a Facebook post that they put out about 11 hours ago showing the damaged memorial. Take a look at these pictures from it. You can see where there was a piece of glass that used to be embedded in the granite. It is now no longer there. The Wayzata Police Department telling us that this glass fragment was found at the scene of Ground Zero near Gordy Amos Jr.'s remains when he died 23 years ago today. It was included in the memorial when it was created back in 2021, and it sat unmoved until around August 29th of this year. That is when police say it was forcibly cut out of the granite, pried up, and stolen. Now, police are offering a $1,000 reward for this piece of glass. They say it has no monetary value, so that $1,000 is really going towards the sentimental significance of it. Now, police haven't gotten back to me about whether or not they've gotten any new leads, but coming up in 30 minutes, I'll have more on the man behind the memorial and why getting this piece of glass back would mean so much to his family. Back to you.
All right, Audrey, reporting live in Wayzata. Thanks for that. Well, 9/11 has become a day of service and remembrance for many Americans. In less than 2 hours, 1,000 volunteers across the Twin Cities will come together to help feed people experiencing food insecurity. They'll gather at the Roy Wilkins Auditorium to pack 300,000 meals, which will be donated to Second Harvest Heartland. And at Target Field, the Twins will join all of the MLB in remembrance of 9/11. Ahead of tonight's game versus LA, 6 wreaths will be placed behind the pitcher's mound in honor of those who lost their lives. There will also be a pregame flyover featuring a squadron based out of Utah. Well, we need to show you what's happening right now in Louisiana. This is a live picture from New Orleans. People there are bracing for Hurricane Francine, which is just hours away from making landfall on the Gulf Coast. In the last 24 hours, the storm moved along the coastline, bringing heavy rain and flooding to Texas. Hundreds of thousands waiting in the path today, lining up for gas, stocking up on food and water, and packing sandbags. Forecasters there are warning it's going to continue to intensify as it moves through the hot waters of the Gulf.
It's crucial that all of us take this storm very seriously and begin our preparations immediately.
Take nothing like this lightly. You have to be prepared for everything that's going to happen.
Evacuation orders are in place in several coastal communities as shelters are opening up. Governor Jeff Landry has issued a state of emergency there. We have an update this morning after gunshots sent the Northtown Mall in Blaine into lockdown over the weekend. 20-year-old Maurice Nylon is facing 2 felony charges. Charges say he had a 9mm handgun on him when he was arrested, and that gun was linked to 4 casings at the mall. Police also say Nylon was seen on security footage with 4 other people before the incident. This morning, there's a new policy at Northtown Mall. Anyone 17 and under needs to have an adult that's at least 24 years old with them at all times. The emergency status that sparked a receivership at the historic Lowry Apartments in St. Paul is over, but the city still has control. Here's what we know.
I'm Kaya Edwards in downtown St. Paul. The Lowry Apartments recently made headlines due to terrible conditions inside, and the city of St. Paul stepped in and filed an emergency order that appointed a different company to temporarily manage the building. Well, that emergency status just expired, and now the courts have decided to keep the building under receivership. A tenant tells us cleanliness and security have already improved.